Okay, let's go ahead and get it started. So, Moralic, thank you for stopping by.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
No problems. So let's go a little bit about yourself. Why did you start streaming? Who are you? Why did you start playing Warhammer? Things like that.
Okay. Well, yeah. Let's go with I'm Moralic. Real name is Rene. I'm from Austria, 36 years old. And yeah, how did I get to streaming? Actually, I wanted to YouTube at first. And yeah, some friends of mine kind of got some money together to get me my first streaming deck, but I didn't really use it at the beginning. And yeah, as of my Twitch name, Moralic 2020, I started actually streaming 5 years later in 2020 when one of my friends also started streaming. It was like, yeah, why you're always talking about, doing YouTube, but you're not doing it. So yeah, why not try streaming? And how I got to war as a teenager, my first, how do you say it, encounter with actually Warhammer itself was 40K, like the miniatures. I kind of found them really, really cool. And I went to stores and saw that there's like this fantasy stuff as well. It's like, oh, okay, this figures look cool as well. So yeah, that's how I got somehow into Warhammer. And then the MMO came out. I played it live. Yeah, but I barely remember stuff of live. It's the funny part.
Oh yeah, I hardly ever remember anything about live myself. Did you enjoy live, or do you prefer this version of it more?
Um, good question. That is the hard part to say because I can barely remember live. I enjoy both. I know I enjoyed live as well, but if it's more now, probably it's more now because it's free to play.
Okay.
Back then it was pay to play if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
back on live, you had a subscription, so it was like what
yeah,
14.99 a month. I want to say.
yeah. I always bought those cards you could buy. What's it sub for?
You bought the what? I don't know what cards you're talking about. What cards are you talking about?
They were like prepaid cards. You got them here in Europe. I'm not sure if you got them in the States. Like they were like really cool cards, like with the classes on it. Like there was the Soric or a knight or something like on it. Yeah, and you scratch and you had to scratch the number. Yeah.
Maybe we had it. I don't know. I mean, I really wasn't into like Warhammer, I guess, in live. I didn't really pay attention to a lot of those things. So maybe we had it, but I don't remember them at all.
Uh Probably. I don't know. Probably you had them as well, but if you had a credit card back then, I guess you wouldn't have bought the card like those prepaid cards.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. I mean, the only thing I remember about live really was having like the collector's edition with like a little figurine or statue that you would
Yeah.
get.
Yeah, I still actually have that one. Like
You
with the
you actually have that?
Yeah, I still have it somewhere around here.
Wow. Wow. So are you like a true Warhammer lore follower person?
uh I know a little, but I'm not like very well versed in it. I mean, I read a few books. I think the first book I read was Conrad. I think it was Conrad the Warrior, or I just know the German title. Konrad der Krieger was the title.
Boy,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have a lot of my viewers I know is gonna leave me to watch you now, like
no,
full time.
no. Hey,
That's
you
really
got your
awesome.
you earned your viewers.
That's really awesome. So you started doing YouTube because of that?
No, I wanted to start at YouTube, but with other game. I I think you know that I stream Monster Hunter, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
That
think I, I
that
think I think Monster Hunter is actually how I found you first. I
okay,
want to say.
okay. Well, that was the actual thing I wanted to do on YouTube. I have some footage of it from back then, but I can't get to, you know, edit edit those videos. It takes a lot of time and know-how. And yeah, just finding the time for it is really hard.
Yeah, I started off doing YouTube actually for me funny enough, my very first YouTube video I ever created was actually back in 2009 or 10, and
Yeah.
it was basically I would go to local bars and I would record like indie artists, and then I would post their YouTube videos on my page.
Okay. Okay.
Just of them singing, and I thought I was going to be like the next, like music mogul, and I was going to use YouTube to do that.
Okay. So you were into music.
Oh, well,
Cool.
it's not that I was into music. I thought that YouTube would be a music platform.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I didn't really see YouTube as being like a video platform for like games and things like that. I thought it would be a place for music.
Okay.
So I would go and I would record indie artists and then put their videos on my page. And then I got so happy because I got like one subscriber to my channel that I would get like 2 views, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna be the next Dre or whatever, but on YouTube. And and, and
Okay.
and here I am, 12 years later, now doing Warhammer videos with 150 subscribers.
Well, that is 150 subscribers more than on my channel on YouTube.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So
I mean, I
so so
yeah.
why did you kind of, I don't want to say leave the YouTube behind, but go to Twitch or streaming?
Like I said, there was this friend of mine who got into it. Like he started streaming before me, about a month before me, and he was like, "Yeah, why aren't you streaming? I mean, you wanted to do YouTube. Maybe this is more your thing, interacting with people and stuff like that." It's like, okay, well, let's try it out. He kind of kickstarted me, like how to get everything set up. He showed me videos, how to set up your sound and stuff. And yeah, I kind of got really into it, especially since I had a lot of free time 2 years ago.
So you started this 2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. You run, I would say, probably one of the cleanest streams out there when it comes to Warhammer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I know I remember talking to you maybe 6 or 8 months ago because my wife wanted to get into like podcasting and things like that. And I remember talking to you about that.
Ah, yeah, 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 yeah. I still
And
remember
and,
that.
and
Yeah.
I was asking you, what type of camera do you use? What do you do for your video? And I think at the time, maybe you still do, but you were using like a cell phone or something like that, correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was using my cell phone. Yeah,
And
because
you were using like a third party software to basically take your cell phone image and use it on your PC, correct? Something like that?
yes, 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 yes. That was the first cam I was using.
Are you still doing that, or have you moved up in the world and now buying DSLRs?
No, I was thinking about DSLRs, but they're a little bit expensive.
Okay.
And I stuck to the cam I'm using now since I'm using it more green screen. I mean, you see it, I think, a little bit here and here
Yeah, yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
sides. And yeah, that's why I actually took off the phone as a webcam. I mean, the view is cool. I thought the view was really cool, but it was very small.
No, I've always enjoyed watching your streams because I thought your stream quality was always probably, for Warhammer streamers. I don't watch a lot of streams, but a lot of Warhammer streamers, maybe top two or top three out there of quality.
Oh, oh, thank you. I wouldn't say that of my streams, but thanks. I would. I would think yours are way better than mine.
No, no, no. I mean, you look behind me, and there's like boxes. I mean, I just moved. I just moved to our house now 2.5 months ago almost, and I still got boxes back there.
Oh,
You know,
I mean, I still got some stuff over here, as you can see, like boxes as well, but those are like computer stuff.
yeah. Maybe your boxes are just cooler than my boxes. I don't know.
Well,
Okay, so you started streaming 2 years ago, and you stream
yeah.
Warhammer. What else do you stream?
Monster Hunter. What else? I did Vermintide for a while, and Conan Exiles as well. I tried a lot of stuff. Besides of Warhammer, but Warhammer, I think, like Warhammer ROR has been, I think, the main thing on my channel. Although I took a little bit of a break of the game, like streaming wise. Um, yeah, it's still actually one of the main content.
Do you prefer MMOs, or what type of genre do you prefer to play and stream?
Uh, Planes. That's a good question. I don't have like a preferred like genre that I play. It's more like how I feel right now. Like sometimes I'd be like I'd like to play more like co-op PV games, or yeah, it really depends on my mood.
Okay. Now, when you stream, do you find it more relaxing to stream and to play, or do you prefer to play offline and play instead of streaming?
mm, I would like to say I play while I'm streaming, to be honest. At least it used to be. Um, because I felt like it's more relaxing to just play without others who are talking to me, like via Discord. Because when I'm playing with, like, especially like with my guild, for example, I'm way more focused what they're saying, and it's a little bit more. I wouldn't say it's a stressful environment, but I'm way too serious probably.
Yeah, I mean,
And
for
yeah,
me, I like to stream and to play, but there are days where I feel like the streaming aspect removes a little bit of fun from the game for me. So I don't enjoy
yeah.
I don't enjoy the game as much. Some days,
When
not
you're
always, but some days.
when you're streaming, right? Just give me
Yeah,
a sec.
yeah,
Talk.
yeah. When you're streaming.
Okay. Yeah, probably. I think it really depends on the game. For me, at least, it depends on the game. Um, if I'm like playing solo stuff, like single player games, I don't. I think I could. I'm enjoying that quite a bit because you have. I mean, you're not so focused on the game, and you have your attention a little bit more on people that are watching you. I just don't like the how to say it, the point where you're so focused into the game that you're ignoring everybody.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, now, do you prefer to play the multiplayer games, or do you prefer the single player games?
Multiplayer, to be honest, because
Okay.
especially with friends, because you can talk so much stupid stuff and laugh so much about stuff as well.
Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm having a problem with the
Yeah,
Discord
go
window.
ahead. Yeah, just go ahead, do your thing.
It doesn't want to stay up for some reason. So
Okay.
so now so you started streaming a couple years ago. Have you gone back and tried to do the YouTube thing, or have you basically just gone straight with Twitch?
I'm still trying. Still trying to do something on YouTube. Like I said, it's just really that like cutting videos is very time consuming, I think.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I found
And
myself, when I was doing YouTube, for example, when I was doing YouTube highlights, and I know this is an interview with you, not for me, but when I was doing YouTube videos for Warhammer, it was basically play for 4 or 5 hours, and then download my VOD,
Yeah.
which at the time would take probably, an hour on my for my ISP to download the VOD. Then I would have to basically scrub through the entire 4 or 5 hour video, scrub through highlights, cut it, edit it, wait for the editing software to get done,
Yeah.
upload it, and that the whole thing would take probably 9 or 10 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a problem, I guess.
Which
I
which
mean,
is why I went straight to streaming. I'm like, forget it.
yeah. Streaming is more, how do you say? First of all, it's more interactive, in my opinion, and I don't want to say it's less effort, because it's not, to be honest. Because you try to, you try to entertain the people, the people that are watching you, at like, somehow.
Okay, so from the point of view of being streaming being less effort, to some I would say yes, it probably is a little bit less effort. However, how do you uh how would what was your recommendation? Let's say for somebody who wants to become a brand new streamer, never streamed before, how did you get over having, let's say, no viewers or one viewer and having no one really interact with you while you're streaming? What did you do to get over that?
Whew. Um,
If
Probably.
if you even had that problem, maybe you had 1,000 to start off. I don't know.
No, 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 not at all. Um, I think the first 2 months were where was like there. I had like basically two people. First 2 months were like I had just basically two people watching me, and I don't know. I just tried to engage with people. Like, I was trying to say, hey, if you want to talk, just go ahead, talk with me. Um, I had even my chat bot where it just shows, hey, I'm trying to talk to you if you want to. Um, Best thing is just to be yourself, I guess. And some people will think you're very, you know, how to say it, approaching, sympathetic. Is that what it's called? I'm not sure.
Approachable or
Up
I'm not sure. I mean, I know what you're thinking of. I can't think of the word myself right now.
Word, yeah. Yeah. And
Um
at some point people will just talk to you, I guess.
Now
Ask you about.
when you started streaming, I'm only bringing this up because I've had people come on my stream a lot and they say, "Hey, I want to get started streaming, but I can't do it because I have no interaction." So when you started streaming, would you just talk when no one else was talking,
Yeah, yeah,
or
I would do
or
that.
would you sit there quiet?
No, well, at the beginning, I was sitting there quiet, to be honest. Best thing is also what I learned is watching other streamers, like how they interact. Just I think it's good just to talk, so people see that you're not boring in some kind of way. You're just say because it's kind of boring if you're just sitting there and watching someone playing the game. I mean, there needs to be some kind of, feel that you can interact with the person, and I think talking during the stream shows that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Do you enjoy watching other streamers, and if so, do you prefer watching large streamers or small streamers?
Um, Depends, I guess. I don't watch too many large streamers. I watch you. I watched Fixer a lot. Uh,
I'm large, but not in the form of followers. I'm just large person general.
no, you're not. But yeah, I, pref- I don't watch too many large streamers, to be honest. I watch the people I find nice, to be honest, and that are approachable to me.
Okay, I'm with you as well. I don't really enjoy larger streamers because to me they lose the interaction aspect of it. It becomes almost commercialized,
Yeah, yeah, I agree on that.
and
Um,
I actually have a hard time. Like there's one streamer I do like watching, which is Dr. Disrespect. But
Oh, okay.
but watching him, as much money as he makes in a day just off
Yeah.
of donations, I'm like, why do people keep throwing money at a millionaire? It is beyond me.
Well, I mean, if they have the money and they want to do it, why not? I
I
mean,
mean, I get
again.
it. I get it, but it's like, if if I had, let's say, $100 to give to a streamer, I would not give it to somebody who already has millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
I would give it to somebody who doesn't.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
But people just love to throw money at large streamers.
I can't tell you why. I mean, I'm not one of those. I can't tell.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, maybe one day I'll get there, or maybe one day you'll get there, and I'll ask you again. You'll be like, "Keep it coming."
Yeah, I'll throw money at you if I had it.
No. So now, kind of moving off of the streaming YouTube topic, how long have you been playing on Warhammer private server? I think you said that and I kind of missed it.
I think since 2017, before City. I still remember it, like, when you got 2 forts, um, the whole server had to restart. I think it was 2017,
Okay,
something like that.
so 2017. So you've been on the server for 4.5, maybe 5 years.
Yeah.
How have you seen the progression of the server go? Is it gone up, gone down? What's your opinion of the server over the past 4 or 5 years?
Well, they implemented stuff, some for the better, some for the worse, I guess. Um, the last I think it got better in some way. Um, hmm, it got better, I think, to be honest. I mean,
Okay.
there were changes I don't agree that I didn't agree with, but yeah, I mean, that's beyond me. I mean, I have no say about that.
Oh no, for sure, fair enough on that. I mean, we all have, I think, things that we like or don't like individually. Um, if you had the powers of, let's just say, GM or whatever, to do what you wanted to do, what version of this game would you like to see implemented? What aspects would you like to see?
Hmm. I mean, I think I saw a few Q&As back then from the from the devs back then, which I would have liked is what they were talking about, destructible walls, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. For sieges to be a little bit more diverse, not just being in front of the door or, you know, standing there and waiting till the door goes down. Yeah, I mean, in Fort they brought in the what is it? That you could fly in from the top, which is kind of cool, I think. Which made forts a little bit more enjoyable, I guess. I mean, I personally just once used it, but yeah, it seems fun to me. The city implementation, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know how to think about that. I mean, I'm not a big city goer as well,
Have you
but
tried
yeah,
any of the Land of the Dead stuff?
yes, twice already.
Okay. I have not. I have not done any of the Land of the Dead. What is your view or opinion on Land of the Dead implementation as of now?
um, it's basically an RVR event to me. You're trying to get bows and trying to get as much the first faction that reaches the maximum of points wins, basically. Um, there is nothing really much I would say that is like super enjoyable on that, except for probably the mass fights. Probably.
Okay. So speaking about the fighting aspect, what type of fighting aspect do you prefer to do? A solo, 6-man, war band. What do you enjoy as a player? How do you like to play it that way?
I like playing like a little bit in a smaller scale, 6 to 12 men. That's the most enjoyable to me. I mean, Warband like 24 man is fine as well, but I preferred a little bit smaller. Half a Warband would be more enjoyable for me. It's not as much chaos.
Okay. The recent changes to currency has been a big topic. You know,
uh,
people have been talking about that a lot. Um, do you think that was a good change overall, or do you think it's a step backwards?
Sorry, Stash, you broke up there. I didn't hear your
Oh, I
full
broke up.
sentence. Yeah.
Sorry.
Just make sure.
So we just recently had a currency change, almost a month ago now. Um, do you think that was a move forward or a move backwards in the form of implementation and also bring exciting to the game itself?
Hmm. I mean, you get. I mean, the that it's just one currency is, I think, somewhat okay. But since I'm playing mostly my higher level characters, I don't care too much about it. I mean, the cool thing is I got on my knight like every set now because I have other currencies that I had like, I don't know, in thousands. Um, I guess the one currency thing is okay. It does not matter too much though to me, to be
Okay,
honest.
so a veteran player like you, really had no change.
No, for me it didn't matter except for me just getting 2 sets more. That's it.
Have you tried or have you considered playing like as a new character to see how it would feel, or do you have no interest in that?
Oh, I do. I do. I actually have a few lower characters like Swordmaster, a low level Slayer. Yeah.
And actually, I forgot to ask this. What is your main character? What do you like to play?
My main character is a Knight of the Blazing Sun. Yeah,
So you're the
love
one.
the.
You're the one tank that Order has.
Oh no, 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 no. Um, there's a lot of good tanks in Order. I mean, there's not a lot of us, but there is still.
No, I said the only tank. I didn't say good tank. I said the only tank.
No, there are other tanks for sure.
Okay.
Not the only one.
Now, flipping the script here a little bit. Kind of, this is a little bit of hyperbole in a way, but do you think that Order does have a melee tank problem, or do you think there is no melee tank problem on Order?
I think there is a problem in the tech department. Melee problem. I mean, there are close combat bribe wizards.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's mostly a tank problem. I really think it's really a tank problem more. Because I like in my guild there are a lot of there are a few slayers and white lions.
Do you ever play Destro?
Very rarely. I have a black orc.
Okay,
Um,
so you have a tank on Destro as well.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Do you see a difference of how Destro either assembles or plays versus Order, or do you think it's pretty even in how they assemble their classes?
At least from a scenario aspect, I feel like it's more balanced. Like there is like an even tank to healer to DPS ratio, in my opinion. While Order always struggles to get a tank in every situation, in my opinion.
Okay. See, I've always said for years that Order is way too ranged focused, range to range dependent,
Oh yeah, yeah, that
and
definitely.
and I have pleaded and pleaded for years to play more melee. I'm not saying slayers, but more melee. But the argument has always been, well, I'm not going to roll melee when we have no tanks to guard me.
Somewhat a fair point, somewhat. But yeah, order needs more more melee DPS. I mean, we have a lot of witch hunters, but I don't know, like in big scale fights,
Let's talk. Let's
maybe
talk about
not.
a real melee class, not witch hunters. I'm kidding.
Well, there was a surge of slayers and white lions, I guess. I think about a year ago, probably. Not sure anymore. I mean, like before the was it the city came in, I was just with like Slayer warbands. Like every DPS that was in the warband was a Slayer. And they were just spamming, what is it? The M4 Doom Seeker, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah, and we were wrecking stuff, to be honest. We were wrecking 2 warbands back then. Like, insane. Really insane.
So if Slayers or if melee on order was so strong, why do you think they have not stayed as a melee focus? Why have they either reverted or gone back to a range focus?
Question. I'm not too sure about the Slayer nerfs. Was there, like, lots of it? I'm not sure.
I mean, to me, most Slayer changes have mostly affected small scale Slayers, not really warband Slayers to a point. I mean, you could say that Shattered Limbs change was a nerf to warband Slayers, but
Yeah, yeah.
it wasn't. I don't think that would be a reason why they would all just quit playing Slayers.
Okay. Huh.
I just don't know. I've never really understood why. Because to me, again, I know that this is your interview, but to me, Destro plays a lot more melee tank focused.
Yeah, yeah.
And Order plays a lot of range, what I like to call passive focus. They just stand on walls or bridges and just wait to pew pew.
Hmm. The Well, probably.
But
Probably. I mean,
I don't play in warbands though, so maybe Gimli does it differently. And in my point of view, is fact is false.
it's it really depends what our setup is, like who's online. I mean, we'll ask people like, "Hey, do you have a melee DPS or do you have a tank? Do you want to switch or something?" I mean, nobody's forced to switch if they don't want to. But we try to build actually somewhat effective warbands. Sometimes it doesn't work out though. I mean, we'll just play with what we have. Um, but probably if you're in pugs, I see like when I'm a pug warband, it's very NG NG heavy, NG heavy, or or Shadow Warrior heavy.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
I said the same thing. I just don't know why it's so heavy on range. Is I've always had that question. Like when I stream, I complain about it nonstop. Like when it comes to a keep push, and you say push, and you see 3/4 of your order standing 50 feet back, not moving because they're all range, I get so upset.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, it's yeah. We also do encounter that as well in the warband itself. Like we charge in and nobody comes after us because
Yeah.
because there's no melee to charge in with us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, people in my stream are saying fact is that let's play Slayer because I need a guard, and Order has no or has very few guards or tanks, so no one wants to play Slayer. So it's kind of the what comes first, chicken or the egg type thing, in my
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. I mean, like I said, it's always a struggle, a struggle to get tanks. I mean, I sometimes like yesterday in Warband, I had to guard like 5 DPS, no, 4 DPS in my group. I mean, I was guard switching like constantly. You try as a tank. I guess you try your best to keep your mates alive.
Yeah, I don't know if how I would probably get frustrated. I could see being a tank and being like, oh god, I have to guard a white lion who's pouncing around the screen, going 100 feet in front of me, and I can't keep up with them.
Yeah, but that is a normal thing. Like I I don't want to say that it was a good thing that they nerfed the jump, like the how do you call it,
The pounce.
the pounce, the distance to pounce, but it made it easier for me to guard the white line actually.
So you are saying that was a positive change to nerf the white line. Got it.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the nerf made it easier to guard the white line.
No, I got it. We'll make sure we clip that. We got it. No, fair enough. No, fair enough. No, I mean, I couldn't imagine the I don't want to say pain, but the frustration you would go through for dealing with that.
I mean, I had like a little bit of a bad experience guarding a white lion. That was a city though, and the thing is, the guy that was post pounce nerf, the guy was jumping so far, and he was complaining about me that I'm not guarding him. I was like, the hell are you talking about? You just pounced like 100 meters away from me. How am I supposed to guard you?
Yeah, yeah. No, I get the frustration with that. I really do. Now, do you think that is actually a potential turnoff to play in a tank?
No,
No.
probably not. No, no. For me, not. I mean, yeah, you can't complain, of course. But, if you're going to pounce that far, I mean, that's your own fault, to be honest.
Oh, fair enough with that. Yeah. No, but I mean, as do you think having white lions is a deterrent to have somebody else want to play a tank because like I'm not going to
No,
guard a white lion?
no, 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 no,
No.
no,
Okay.
no. To be honest, no. I mean, you could tell the lion, of course, to say to not stray too far ahead. I mean, that's not a big deal, I think,
Okay.
and it should be a turn off to me. I mean, I still prefer to guard slayers and probably bribe wizards. Mostly slayers, I think I prefer to guard.
Okay. Okay. Now you said
uh,
you said you have a lobby slayer, correct?
yes, yes, very
How
low.
how do what level is your slayer?
Something around 20, I think.
Okay.
That's
How do you like the lobby slayer experience so far, or how often do you play him? I should say.
mm, lately not very often, but I do enjoy him actually. I actually want to try out some other stuff. I think I talked about it with you. To try out like a two-handed Slayer build,
Good luck.
something like that. Just trying out. I mean, I'm very I like to experiment. Even with my knight, like I'm trying stuff out. Like okay, two-handed builds, stuff like that. Trying to have like somewhat like an offensive sword and board build. Yeah, like
Okay.
yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. Speaking about your tank, let's talk about your counter or your mirror. The chosen.
Yeah.
How do you feel that the knight is in a better spot than chosen, or do you feel the chosen's in a better spot than the knight, or do you think they're pretty even across the board?
Um, generally, generally, I think they're pretty even in their respective way. I see chosen to be more self-centered. Um, Also, they're better in, I guess, DPSing, like dealing damage. The knight is more like, your party cheerleader, I would say. He's I think a bit better in, supporting your group, to be honest.
Okay, so a knight, in your opinion, is a much better group supporter,
Yeah.
whereas a chosen is more of offensive, selfish-minded aspect of a player.
Um yeah, somewhat like that. Somewhat like that. Yeah,
Okay.
probably.
Would you prefer which one do you think is more fun to play? Do you prefer to play the more AKA cheerleader role, or would you like to be more of a damage selfish role?
Phew. I mean, I'm used to I'm used to being more of a supportive role, to be honest.
Okay.
Um, of course, I wish I could deal a little bit more damage. Who doesn't? But yeah, I'll just how do you say it? Play with what I have, to be honest.
Okay. Now you have a Lobby Bork, you said, correct?
Yes.
What level
Also,
is your Bork?
let me check. To me, he is 23.
Okay, so 20. So okay, so it's kind of like your Slayer. So
Yeah.
you don't really have a full idea of what he is going to be in the end, correct?
Yeah. Not yet. Not yet.
How do you like the Bork compared to, let's say, can you think of your Knight when your Knight was 23? I know they don't really compare it against each other across the board, but what do you think about the Bork?
It is more challenging to play because it's a very different mechanic. Because you need to do this skill to use the other skill. Like, it's like a stepping stone to get to a better skill. And the knight is very straightforward. You just um
Hold the line.
turn on hold the line, basically. Um you just turn on your auras and that's it.
I'm waiting for the comments now. Okay, have you ever played a Swordmaster, the mirror of the Bork?
Yes. Also, I have also a sword master. I have lots
Okay.
of tanks.
What level is your Swordmaster?
He's like level 5.
Oh,
He's
okay.
just level 5. Like he's totally baby.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Very very similar. Very similar to feel. Um just because of this stepping stone mechanic in my opinion. Because you need to do skill A to do skill B.
For
But
sure.
yeah.
Did you ever play? Again, this is kind of a side question here. Did you ever play Dark Age of Camelot?
No, no. I mean,
Okay.
at the time where I think it came a little bit before Roar, right?
Well, it came out in like 2000, 2001. No, wait.
Okay.
Yeah, 2000, 2001 is when it came out. I want to say maybe even 99. Somewhere on that ballpark. So it was about
Okay.
10. It was about almost 10 years before Roar,
Okay.
or Warhammer Live, I should say.
Okay. Oh, that old already. Okay. No, no. I mean, I had played some other MMOs though. What did I play? Mm, Guild Wars. Guild Wars 2. What else? Oh yeah, the original Ultima Online as well,
Oh, there
but
you
on a
go.
private server. Yeah, but it was like more of RP gaming as well.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I asked about Dark Age of Camelot because Dark Age, your abilities, kind of going back to your Bork and your Swordmaster, was that it was
Oh,
kind of like in Dark Age of Camelot, you would have basically a reactionary ability, and then you would have your anytime ability.
okay.
So what you would do is you would hit, for example, you would hit, your parry ability and then your anytime. So if you parried somebody, your parry ability would hit your opponent, but if you didn't parry, your anytime would hit the opponent.
Okay.
So
That's quite
so you would
quite
have
interesting.
so you would have a reactionary, and then you would have your anytime, and then a lot of your anytimes would then also have a follow up, where you'd have like an anytime 2 and then anytime 3, but you had to do your anytime 1 or 2 prior to doing the anytime 2 or 3.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Somewhat. Yeah. So
Okay.
you have one skill, and if that skill did that, you could do this skill, I guess. And if it didn't do that, you had to take the other skill. Or
Yeah,
what?
so kind of like, for think about your sword and board knight. So for example, let's
Yeah.
say you have a blocking skill.
Yeah.
So if you block, then let's say you had some sort of like like a shield smash, for example. I don't know if you
Yeah.
do or don't.
Yeah.
So what you would do
Yeah.
is you would hit your shield smash 1, and then you would hit your, let's say, your anytime skill 2. If you didn't block, you would just hit your anytime skill 2. But if you did block, then you would do the shield smash.
Oh, okay.
And then what you could do is that you might have a follow up to that, like a step. You'd have a ability 2, like ability 3, and like a finisher.
Oh. Oh, you know what that reminds me of? I don't know if you know that because it's a Korean game. Cabal Online. You know that one?
Never heard of it.
Yeah, that was kind of similar to that
So
because there was like a combo system in that game.
yeah,
You had to, and it was timed as well. Like if you didn't hit the skill like in the right moment, you messed up your combo and you had to start off like from one again.
yeah, no, Dark Age, you basically had, I think it was 2 or 3 seconds to get your reactionary off. Otherwise, it would go away and you'd go back to your anytime.
Excuse me, what?
So,
Sorry.
so in Dark Age, you'd have like 2 or 3 seconds to get your reactionary ability to actually trigger. If you didn't,
Yeah.
then you would lose it and you go back to your anytime ability.
Anytime guilty. Okay. Yeah.
So that's why I only brought that up because of the whole stepping of the Swordmaster and Borg.
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of the Dark Age days
Dark Age
of where I could used to that.
Okay. How long did you play that though?
I played Dark Age for 9 years.
Oh, that's quite a lot.
Yeah, I played it from 2000 to 2009, or basically when Warhammer Live came out, I quit.
Okay. Because you like Warhammer Live more?
No,
Or
I was a buddy of mine who had played Dark Age with. He wanted to play Warhammer because he was new, and he was
Okay.
and he was being developed by the same company that made Dark Age, which was Mythic.
Mhm. Yeah.
So we were like, okay, this is basically going to be Dark Age 2. So we were like all excited for it because it was like Dark Age of Camelot 2.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's why.
But it didn't really come out to be that way.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's always like that. You're hyped for something, and then yeah, the hype is too high, and then you get disappointed probably.
Yeah, no, I mean, I played live for about a year and a half, then I quit it. Then I went to a few other MMOs, and then I found this one in 2016.
Okay.
So okay, now going back to Warhammer and itself, the war crest change doesn't really affect you too much. What about the city siege mechanic that we have now? Do you like that mechanic, or do you prefer how it was before?
I'd like to say I'd prefer it before. Um, I don't like the fact that it's like kind of less in the player's hand that you get to the city. I mean, although like I said, I'm not a big city goer. Yeah, it's not something that I do. That change I didn't like too much. That you have like certain times where you go city. It's not something I'd like. I like.
Okay. Okay, so do you enjoy forts, or do you prefer the open RVR or scenario experience? Which environment do you like to play in?
Um, Probably the RVR environment, like being in the map and w- wreaking havoc. And yeah, trying trying to best the other realm somehow.
Okay. Now, one comment that, not a comment, but one thing that people have for several years have talked about on this server has always been either the zones are open for too long, they get stale, or that they're undefended and they get run through too fast. Do you think either one is a actual issue, or do you think that the time frame in zones is about correct right now?
What do you mean by that? I
Well,
don't really.
so for example, some people will say that, I mean, back in the day, back in, let's say, 2016, 2017,
Yeah,
KV was known as a zone of almost like the never ending zone.
ending stones. Yeah.
It would go on for 15, 20 hours sometimes.
Yeah.
So the devs made changes to try to make the campaign faster so that way you wouldn't have stalemated zones.
Yeah.
Now, at times, before the change of the cities, some would say the zones went undefended, so city would just happen.
Happen. Yeah.
Do you see that as being an actual issue, or do you find that the actual time frame you're actually spending in a zone is actually true fighting, or do you find it to be more of a PVE door situation or a uncontested situation?
Hmm. Good question. To be honest, I like the struggles sometimes. I mean, if it gets tedious, I know it gets tedious and annoying if you can't progress in a zone or whatever. The PvE dooring is somewhat an issue. I mean, what can you do, to be honest? Um, yeah, yeah, I can't really say anything about it.
Okay. Do you find another hot topic that people talk about a lot, and it comes up a lot in like dev Q&As or whatever, is X realming? Do you feel X realming to be an issue, or is it more of an excuse but not a problem?
What I think it was like really bad at some point, like when a faction was basically losing, that people would just switch to the winning side. I think that is an issue, to be honest. Is a very big issue sometimes. Um, I think they had this thing going with that you get a lockout for an hour. Now I'm not sure how long the lockout is now. If you change the faction, but I also heard like people just do multiple accounts as well, which is also not really okay.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you do get locked out for 90 minutes.
90
And
minutes?
and
Okay.
and yeah, there are people who have figured out ways of getting around the lockout for sure. But even if, let's say if the lockout was 10 hours and you couldn't get around it, would you be in favor of a longer lockout or no lockouts?
I'd be in favor actually for a lockout. I mean, it should. I'm not a big fan of X ramming, to be honest. You stick to a side, or you shouldn't play. To be honest, I mean, come on, just because you're losing, you're going to switch the side.
Okay.
Is
Uh,
that how you is I mean, it's a basic, like a general question. So you're you're switching a side because in my opinion, you're a sore loser in my eyes.
fair point. Let's delve a little bit more in depth in this. This is a good conversation. Could there be an argument to be said that maybe somebody wants to switch to the underdog to help the underdog and can't because they're locked out?
Actually a very good argument, to be honest. But are you going to really switch to the losing side?
Well, maybe. I mean, let's say if Gimli and Guild had an Order
Yeah.
Guild and a Destro Guild,
Yeah.
and which I don't know if they do or do not. But let's say if they did, and let's assume that for 2 hours, on their Order side they were PVE dooring, and they were like, "This is not fun. Let's switch to Destro side and let's have some competition."
um. Hmm. Hmm. Good question. um. I will say it. I will say it. Ghibli does not have a Destro Destro guild. Um. Gimli is basically a order only guild. Um. But yeah, I mean, there is this, of course. Like, if people would want to switch to the losing side, would be fine. I think, to give the other faction a fighting chance. To be honest, but I don't know. I mean, if you do one, you can't do the other one. You can't have all. Let's say it like that.
Okay. Some people have told me they recommended having caps on population. So when you go to log in the game, let's say if Order has a 10% population advantage over Destro. You can't log into
Mm-hmm.
order. You're basically in a queue system.
Queue system. Okay.
Would you be in favor of something like that? And if so, why or why not?
Mm, not really. I'm not in favor of that. It is how it is, to be honest. If you because you're kind of it might lock out like order only players. It might lock out only Destro players. So not a big fan of that.
Okay, so you're more of a fan of just you log into one side and you're locked into that side, no matter if you're winning or losing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Now, what type of changes would you like to see in the future? Expansions, classes, uh, upgrades. What type of would you like to see in the game if you had the power to do so, or just as a player of the game? What would you like to see? Next 6 months, a year down the road. What would you like to see implemented?
What I'd like to see implemented good. Mm, hmm. As it is now, probably I don't know. I've been playing a few scenarios, maybe revert a few things there. I played what is it? Prague, Battle for Prague, to be honest. Yeah, Battle for Prague. I'm not really liking the fact that, you go you go on a flag and it's capped and then, need to move to the next one. It used to be like there's a timer, I think, and this time Destro could recap it. And yeah, I'm not sure if I'm liking that change. Maybe revert that back. I'm not really liking that. Um, like additionally to the game, I mean, we just got Land of the Dead back. Like we got Land of the Dead. Maybe implement the part. I still remember Land of the Dead having like some kind of PVE part.
Pavel.
Tovel, was
Yeah,
it that?
yeah, TOVL.
Yeah, maybe you get that back in. That would be nice. I mean, as it is now, Land of the Dead is like, yeah, another zone to like RVR. That's it.
Well, Land of the Dead in live is also a lot different than how it's implemented here as well.
I th- I can't really remember it. I know there was a PvE part though, and that I liked a lot.
Yeah, I mean, on live, Land of the Dead was more of an open RVR zone where you could also PvE for, let's say, mats and scales. But what you would do is, let's say, if Destro had access to Land of the Dead, if you
Mhm.
if you did so many things as an order player, you would then gain access, and then you'd be PvPing in Land of the Dead to kick Destro out.
Out. Yeah. That I remember still. Yeah.
So then once you killed all the Destro, then you basically control Land of the Dead to
Control
do
that.
to do all of your farming or whatever you wanted to do. Now it's more of just a large scenario.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, is like I don't know, eight man city or something like that.
Yeah,
Eight warband city or something like that.
yeah,
At the
and
moment, yeah.
yeah, and Tovel or Tomb of the Vulture Lord was more of the PvE aspect where you do like you would have like puzzles that you had to solve to get
Oh yeah,
access and things like that.
yeah. I still
So
remember that.
yeah, so
Yeah.
they've talked about bringing Tovel back. When or how, I don't know.
Oh, they did.
I mean, that's always been something they've taught. I mean, I remember back in 2017 them showing screenshots of Land of the Dead. Um,
Okay.
so I think it's always been a plan, but how they implement it, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, probably they're just still trying to figure that out.
I mean, they implemented Land of the Dead a lot differently than I thought they were going to.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just a massive slaughter fest inside there.
Okay. Okay. So, is there anything else that you would like to see implemented or changed or updated or anything? I mean, what keeps you playing your night? Because you've been playing your night for several years now. What makes you wake up every day and say, you know what, I'm going to play my night for Gimli, and this is what I enjoy doing. What's that drive?
The drive is actually supporting my teammates. I'm very, very like I'm very, very how do you say it? Supportive of my guild. I mean, now a little bit less, but I used to used to do a lot with the guild back then. What I would have liked change though on my night itself is those are kind of specific things like class wise.
Let's be selfish, Moralic. Let's be selfish. What would you like?
Let's see. Um, I mean, it does not matter too much. That is, I think, more of a fluff thing. I want my elemental damage tactic back.
Okay.
uh, and probably yeah, switch around a few things again, because there are like tactics I have, like skills I have actually. I think it's not worth in like specking into them. Like I don't know what's it called. Like the tactic. I guess people are going to hate me for it, but um efficient swings, how it is now, like it's like a anti detaunt for on the knight. Like if the knight gets taunted, it like removes the detaunt on him. I mean, like, what's the purpose of that? I mean, is a knight that much of a threat to, I don't know, someone that you would need that? I think it's really it's actually quite useless to spec that high into that tree to get it. I think it should be like a basic tactic.
So we'll clip that and have you say the knight is useless. That'll be the clip that we'll make.
No, no. Knights are great.
No,
I
I'm kidding.
to be, I see them as like jack of all trades.
So master of none, but good at everything
You could say that. You could say that basically,
except for damage.
except for damage. Yeah.
That
One of
wet
my
noodle, that wet noodle of an arm you
wet
got.
noodle, yeah, the wet noodle, yeah. That's one of the things that my guildmate also says. Like, is there some way to make knights like deal damage? Like, no. It's like even two handed. It's like yeah, even two handed. So it's basically hitting someone with a wet noodle. I was like, yeah, basically.
You hit somebody and you see that single digit number pop up, and you're like, wow.
No, it's two digit, but it's not very high.
Okay. So now, I don't want to keep you super long here.
Okay.
Now in the form of, what's coming up next for Moralic? Is there any other games on the horizon? Streaming schedules? Are you going to be taking a step away from Warhammer, looking to play other things? What does your stream look like?
Um, I will stick a little bit more with Warhammer. I know I've been a bit less on streaming, mostly because of personal stuff I'm dealing with at the moment, mostly work related stuff. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit more Warhammer, and yeah, I'm thinking about getting back to Vermintide again as well. And yeah,
What would make you stay in Warhammer longer instead of going to Vermintide, or what's going to drive you away from Warhammer?
probably if Gimli wouldn't be the same, like if Gimli would, like break away. That's actually one of the biggest reasons why I'm still playing Warhammer, because I actually love my guild. I love the community in general. Still, I mean, I still enjoy the game, but they're mostly the part why I'm sticking around.
So the social aspect is what keeps you.
Yeah, yeah,
And without, for I know Gimli, like all guilds, has its own internal things that happen, like all guilds
yeah.
do. If Gimli for some reason said, you know what, we're done with Warhammer, you would be done with Warhammer then too.
Um, not right away. I probably still give it a try, but you know, maybe I'll find a home in a different guild. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? But like, if I wouldn't find any people that I'd like to hang out with in the game, probably I'd be gone.
Okay. I mean, that's a fair point. I think a lot of people feel the same way, that they play not for the game, but for the interaction and social aspect with their friends more than
Yeah,
the game itself.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing. I mean, I also, like I said, I played Guild Wars 2 as well, and I was also in a very very great guild. I liked them a lot, and the guild got like, you could say they kind of died out, and at some point I said, okay, good. This is not funny anymore for me. That's why I stopped playing it.
Okay. I
Yeah.
I wish I was that way because I've always played solo or duo for the last 20 years. So
Okay.
I've never really, I mean, for maybe a year on this server, I played with CNTK back when they were actually like a Gimli in a way. But
Okay.
I never really enjoyed it a lot.
Oh.
And
Okay.
I've always enjoyed the very small like 1 or 2 man groups um more than the group play or the warband play myself.
Okay. Is there a specific reason why?
Well, and this could be just my personal experience, and maybe this is with the guilds that I've played with. But when I play, to me, my time is precious for me to be in the
Mhm.
game.
Yeah.
To me, I would spend a lot of time waiting on somebody else to get
Yeah.
whatever they're got in their background happen to get done so we can all play together.
Yeah.
So that really bothers me. Let's say if I can't stand waiting, let's say in a war camp or in a keep for 5 minutes because somebody's got to walk their dog.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay. Fair enough, fair enough.
I'm like, no, I want to play. I don't want to wait on you because you got to walk your dog.
Okay. That, I mean, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Well,
So
I mean, you've played with CNTK before me,
yeah.
so I mean, every time for me, it's like now it's like this. Either I'm with Gimli Warband or I'll join CNTK if I'm in the mood for it. I mean, it's kind of still fun with them. I mean, yeah, still fine with them.
I mean, I enjoyed CNTK only. I enjoyed them back when this is probably you probably don't remember him. Maybe you do, but when Beanie Parrot was their warband leader,
Oh no.
he was also a Knight of the Blazing Sun.
Okay. No, no, I don't know him though.
Yeah,
I
his name was Beanie Parrot, and he was really cool because of his personality. So he would just joke around in Discord or TeamSpeak or whatever, and it made the atmosphere fun.
So yeah, that is actually that is the best thing about having a leader who's not too serious
Um,
about the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then when he left, then maybe you know this person, but Delson then took over and he became that leader.
Oh, okay.
And Delson was a lot more serious focused than Beanie Parrot was, but he was still a very cool guy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then Delson left, and then it just became more of a, I don't want to sound like very negative in this aspect, but it became more like an experience with no direction.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
let's form a war band and then let's just kind of do whatever.
Hmm.
And then it became an issue more and more, like I said, of okay, boys, I have to go AFK 2 minutes. He'd come back, then somebody else would say, okay, I go AFK for 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So then for 20 minutes, you're waiting around for everybody to get back from being AFK.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I did that experience. I didn't have with CNTK. I mean, I was with, I don't know. I think you know him, Rowan, when he was still in CNTK, like his
Yeah.
warband mostly. It was I enjoyed being with them. I mean, they weren't too serious. About I mean, they were getting stuff done, but they weren't like super serious, like totally elite or something like that. I mean, I also had that experience, like totally elite guys trying, like total tryhards.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea. It's not my cup of tea.
So you're more of the organized casual person, not the
Yeah.
organized elite version.
No, not all. I mean, I can play with them, but I don't enjoy it. I don't really enjoy it.
Okay.
It's too stale, too serious. I like I said, I don't like playing too much if things are too serious. It takes I mean, you're playing because you want to have fun, right? You try to enjoy yourself. I mean, the world is serious enough.
So let's get in the mindset of Moralic a little bit. Let's say if Moralic is running in a 12-man group, and Moralic sees one person, let's say, half a screen away. Does Moralic say, enemy to the right, let's kill him? Or does he say, it's one person, let him go?
12 man, one guy. Depends. If he's going to mess with me, then I'm gonna kill him.
Okay.
Because he should be running away, to be honest.
What if he's just standing there watching you? Do you turn for him or do you just pass by?
Is he AFK? He's just watching, or is he AFK?
No. He's watching. He's standing, let's say, on a hill line. He turns, he sees you, or sees your group. You see him. Do you say, does Moralic call out, Doc on hill, kill the Doc, or Doc on hill, keep going?
The thing is, I already got trapped by that kind of stuff. It's like I see one guy, and I see say okay, we got time, let's take the kill.
So Moralic is a red is dead mindset.
Not so much. Like,
Okay.
how far is he? Like, literally, how far is he?
Well, okay. Let's if we'll put in perspective. Let's say if you're in, let's say from the distance of the KV North Keep, right outside of the outer door, and he is on the hill, on the mountainside, on the opposite side of that big rock, that far away.
That's not very far away. That's not really far away.
And let's say he is on his mount and he is heading north and your group is heading south, but he's on the hillside and you're on the keep side. Does Moralic say turn and kill Doc, or do you say let Doc pass?
No. If we move in opposite directions, yeah, and I feel like mostly if I move, it has a like kind of a goal. Like I don't feel like spending time on one person if it's not necessary.
Okay. So you actually have that mindset where it's not always a enemy, kill it. It's kind of more of a thing.
No.
It's just worth our time to kill him versus get to our objective.
Yes.
Okay.
This is more of my thing.
Fair enough. I only wanted to ask that because, again, as a solo player, or a mostly solo player, I've been playing recently with an Ironbreaker, Chewy. He plays with me. He plays with me for a couple hours a day, and it's been fun. Very, very casual mindset. No Discord, nothing like that. Just kind of doing our thing. But I've always wondered, how many times does a group or warband say, let him go. It's not worth our time to chase him or to kill him, or there goes an enemy. Kill him no matter what.
No. I mean, that really depends. If I'm leading, I'd probably not go after him. If someone else is leading, he says kill him. Okay, that's the order. Kill him.
Okay. Again, thinking of being as a solo player, I've always said, kind of like in a mindset of me, I've always said, a person that starts the solo, then goes to a duo group, is because they want to kill another solo person. Then they form a trio so they can kill a duo, and they form a 4-man so they can kill a 3-man.
Yeah.
The mindset is never to form, let's say, a 6-man to fight a 6-man. It's always to fight someone less than them.
Well, if you want to do that, then you can always do ranked scenario.
Well, That's a different topic right there altogether.
If you want 6 versus 6, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. There you go. I mean, okay. Let's kind of the last topic. Do you feel that players today
Yeah.
actually want competition, or do you feel they want just rewards?
Hmm. I guess I guess most people are after the rewards, to be honest.
Okay.
I
So
guess, yeah,
so
probably.
do you think that is so since you say that, do you think that is a difference of age and mentality, or what, why is there a difference of, instead of wanting to actually fight or PvP, just rewards? Why is, in your opinion, that change or that mindset?
I have actually no idea why. It's from my mindset, it's I mean, you know it, you know it. People just standing in the zone, not contributing to anything and wanting rewards. Um, that's why would you even play if you're just doing that? I mean, where's the fun in that? I mean, it's more rewarding if you kind of feel you earned that reward, in my opinion. Especially if you struggled and it went well for you. That is, for in my opinion, more fun than just getting something that you actually you didn't earn, in my opinion.
Do you think there's anything that the dev team could do about that, or do you think it's more of a player issue?
That is a player issue. I don't think the team can really do anything about that. I mean, yeah, if you're not maybe if you don't contribute in anything, um, n- you don't get a bag. That's it. You don't get anything.
Okay,
Um,
okay. I don't. I mean, I don't think there's any way that you can actually change that mentality unless players want to change that mentality.
yeah, most likely it's going to be like that because um, trying to force a system is also not really good. Probably, yeah. It's player perspective. I think you need to. That's a mentality that the player has to change.
Okay, and okay. I mean, that could take another conversation, another 3 hours. Yeah, I don't know why it is that way. I see it just as you. To me, you shouldn't get anything if you do nothing. But unfortunately, there seems to be rewards for doing nothing.
Yeah, sadly. I
Okay.
mean, did they change something like the contribution system?
Well, I mean,
Like,
they've always changed or fiddled with the system a little bit. I mean, they had what they called the malice system years ago. Then they removed it, and now they're bringing back, where you don't get drops if your side has, overpopulation, and you also don't get a bag roll. If you don't, contribute X amount of percentages above somebody
yeah,
else. But I think there's still a perception, like, playing as an order main player myself, I see a lot of this type of chat where it says, let them break outer so we can defend and get a bag roll. Um
yeah.
and I always say, well, if you let them break outer, you're not going to defend inner because people aren't going to try.
Try,
So just defend it. And then if you do defend it, then people complain they didn't get a bag roll. So I see that type of chat happen a lot on order. Maybe it happens on Destro as well, but I see a lot of it on order.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I read it as well sometimes. I mean, the funny thing is that was quite long ago. What I really didn't like was the mentality of, yeah, let's let's just go third floor defense, even though like there were somewhat enough people to defend downstairs like that. It's like, why would you do that?
Oh, I think that's still a very common thing. I
Is
think
it?
that's,
Is it
yeah, I think
still?
that's still very common. Yes.
I mean, like, if I know there is just like maybe half a warband or a warband inside the keep, I could understand. Okay, we will not hold it. I mean, it's a 1 star. Let's say it's a 1 star keep. You have just about one warband down in the keep itself. and you know, it's Destro tiding coming, like I don't know, 10 warbands coming in. Okay, good. The chances of defending is very low. Well, let's try to, get some kills still. Let's
Yeah,
try to make the best out of it.
I
Yeah.
get that. I think people that watch my streams have probably seen me quite often be the only person on the bottom floor when that gate opens up, and I just get my butt run over. But I refuse to do third floor defenses. I don't do third floor defenses at all. I refuse to do it.
I I used to think that too, but yeah.
To me, a third floor defense is you not defending at all. It's just trying to
Oh
get
yeah.
it's just trying to get one or two kills, and then
Kills, yeah.
I'd rather just get run over and get it over with than that.
It's basically just, waiting out the inevitable.
Yeah.
So why not make the pain go? Why not make the suffering short?
Yeah, just get it over with. Okay, I know I said last topic 5 minutes ago. This is gonna be the last topic, and then I
Okay,
will let
sure,
you
sure.
go. The weekly events that we now have in Open RVR.
Mm,
Do you know anything about the weekly events before I go into that topic?
actually not.
Okay,
Kill
so
Tonkos Assassins is that one?
okay,
Like
so the
live
week,
event?
the live weekly events is something they brought out. I want to say 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
where basically you have to complete X amount of tasks in Open RVR, and
Oh,
then you get rewards for completing those
okay.
tasks.
Oh, I see.
Do you like having weekly? Well, apparently you don't really like it because you don't even know about it. But do you think having a weekly event is a positive thing or a negative thing for the server as a whole?
I need to look those events through a bit.
Okay. Okay.
RER week 13, weekly RER. Capture, defend keeps and fortresses, capture, defend forts, capture battlefield objectives, slaughter enemies. Mm, well, it might incentivize people to actually get into RVR and not just stand around at the war camp, probably. But it's kind of forced.
Okay.
It's kind of forced.
Okay. I just wanted your opinion on that real fast. Real fast. Do you have anything that you would like to plug, advertise, bring up anything upcoming for your channel? At all?
Um, actually, yeah, not really, not really.
Nothing?
I'm good. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. Well, Moralic, I do appreciate your time. I know I kept you a little bit longer than normal, but I appreciate you being here, and I
Well,
thank you for your
thanks
time
for
very
having
much.
me. Well, thanks for having me. I enjoyed the talk.
No problem. No problem. Maybe we'll do round two down the road.
Okay, sure. I'm down for it.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Moralic, and you have a rest of your day.
Okay, you too.
Thank you, man.
See you, man.
Okay, everybody, and that will go ahead and conclude Meet the Streamer episode 4 with Moralic.